Hey everyone, it's Julie. Hope you all enjoy the conversation you're about to listen to. Kevin Yax. He's relatively new to senior living, about a year and change. He started as a sales director for Brookdale, and he had reached out he was referred to me, and just wanted a little bit of advice as he started his new career. And he stayed in touch with me on and off through time and recently texted me to share his success. And he has, get this, netted 47 units to reach 100% occupancy. His assisted living and memory care rental in Orange County, California, 114 units. Again, that's a net of 47 units in just a little over a year, which is right around almost a net 4 a month. And we all know a net 4 every single month. I mean, that is on average. I mean, that is an accomplishment. So, of course, I said, hey, I got to have you on. And what a nice guy. He's going to sharing like what, his experience in senior living, what he does, how he does it, and advice. So enjoy. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. What a great guy. We need more Kevin's in assisted living or in senior living, period, in sales. Enjoy, like, share, subscribe. Appreciate you all so much. This episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast is sponsored by Yardi. The Yardi Senior Living Suite combines resident care, marketing, sales, finance, business intelligence, pharmacy, and operations, all on a Cloud Forbes 100 ranked, cloud hosted HIPAA and SOX compliant software platform. The suite of products is single stack, uniting on a fully integrated platform. It offers intuitive functionality that helps provide the best care and improved health outcomes across your communities. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. I'm Julie Podewitz, and today I am joined by Kevin Yax. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Julie. Thank you so much for having me on.
I am thrilled that you're on today, Kevin. Kevin, I'm so excited to talk with you. Kevin is the sales and marketing director at Brookdale in Orange County. And I'm guessing that's Orange County, California.
Yes, ma'am, you are correct. And just grateful to have this position.
Well, Kevin, I'm gonna tell the listeners a little bit about you because I know you. I don't know you real well, but I don't think you're gonna brag enough about you. So I'm gonna do that for you. Okay, and I want to pick your brain a little bit. So how we met, all right, Kevin is the son-in-law of a colleague of ours, and she's been a guest on the podcast, Paula Rathgaber Gomez, right? And she is the now newly promoted uh, Chief Experience Officer, right, at Sequoia Living.
That is correct. And she is just wonderful. And, she has been able to instill a lot of wisdom onto me. So I'm just so grateful to have her be a beacon of support in my life.
Oh, and if you haven't listened to Paula's episode, you got a lot of listens and a ton of likes. Paula is amazing. If you don't know her, it, really, if you're at a conference, Paula is great. Sequoia Living. So Paula's your mother-in-law, and you were looking to maybe get into senior living about a year ago, 9 months ago, specifically into sales. And Paul had reached out to me to ask me if I might, chat with you and talk to you a little bit. And I said,
Yeah.
"Sure, I'd be happy to do that." So we had a conversation, and I believe you might have even been in the interview process, or you kind of in, walking down that path. right? And
Correct.
you got hired.
Yes, yes, I did. Thank God. Yes, but it was about a year ago. And I was currently I was doing very well in other sectors that do focus on sales. But some things in my life had kind of transpired. And I definitely wanted a shift, and I wanted a shift where I could help and assist others and serve others. And that's what led me down this path.
Oh, we are glad you were led down the path and when you walked down it. Oh, we really are. So and specifically why sales?
Yeah, so my dad jokingly always says the first ABCs I was taught was always be closing. So my entire career, I've always surpassed quotas. I've always done very well in the sales industry. And you know, I think for me, I was looking for something more. Being able to close is fantastic, but I really had this shift in my life where I wanted to serve others. And for me, I do have a very personal story where my grandfather was caretaking for my grandmother who had dementia. He was supposed to outlive my grandmother, and he unfortunately passed. So she was in her house by herself, which, dementia being alone, it can get hectic. So we immediately scrambled, tried to find her communities. We got her placed in one community that really presented themselves well, but unfortunately the care wasn't to our standards and what we would have liked. And that happened again repetitively until she unfortunately passed. So it was really that staunch moment. My grandparents helped raise me. So I've always connected to seniors very easily. And I certainly, after going through the experience that I went through, I knew this was the industry I wanted to get into.
Okay, so you're hired as the sales and marketing director about what, 8 months ago?
Yeah, about a year and a couple months.
A year and a couple months. Okay, a little over a
Mhm.
year ago. And you, I'm going to start at the end here and you can take us back to the beginning. But I
Sure.
got a text. You've stayed in touch a bit over the course of that time, just a bit here and there. But I got a text Friday from Kevin, and he said, Julie, he said, it's official. I've secured 50 move-ins in 8 months. I am loving my job. And he then goes on to give me a recap. 50 move-ins in 8 months, 100% occupancy. Woo woo! Broke the personal sales record at my community, your community, of 9 move-ins in a month. One rookie of the year in your district, one anchor of the year in your district, have been given multiple stretch assignments to train others. I totally understand that. And drive occupancy, to which they've achieved. They also, the people that you've mentored, have achieved President's Club.
Correct.
Kevin. Kudos. And then I said, you've got to come on. So Kevin, tell us how to do this and what to do. So you're new, you have a sales background,
Mhm.
new to senior living, and you've had this success.
Yeah, so I think, first off, I'd love to give all glory to God. Without the big guy upstairs, none of this is possible. Secondly, I'd really love to give credit to my team. With sales, we often sell, on what we can do and what we can provide for their loved ones or for that prospect specifically. And you got to back that up. So being able to have a team that I was blessed to be a part of that was very well oiled and running very smoothly was a huge benefactor to me. And last but not least, Julie, everything that you're doing at Grow Your Occupancy, from the books that I've read that you put out, as well as your trainings, allowed me to come in as a rookie, feeling like a 10-year seasoned vet. So I really, really give you praise and how you teach and instill wisdom to allow those to either have a refreshing aspect, see things in a different lens, or folks like me that are brand new in the industry to be able to come out right out of the gates, knowing what it takes to be able to drive occupancy.
I really appreciate you saying that, Kevin, but it's really you. You know, you are taking this information, you know, the reading the book, or what I believe you went through the online classes. You're saying, okay, what's available, what else, right? And putting it into practice. So really, I appreciate you saying that, and it's means everything that you're having the success because you're implementing and you're doing the work day in and day out. So thank you, but really the kudos is on you. So what are you doing specifically? And really, let's break it down. So you're new, you did some, you did the online training, you read the material, the books, and you like, what helped? And I'm sure your company gave you some training as well, but really what was most helpful and what did you do or what are you doing that's making most
Yeah.
impact?
Yeah, and yes, Brookdale has been so supportive throughout my entire growth as well. So major shout out to them. They have a fantastic infrastructure from training as well to leadership above that trickles down. So I really appreciate Brookdale and everything they've done. But in this industry, I mean, of course, you've got the orders and processes that you teach very well. And so I utilized that and had a game plan right out of the gate from day one, to really just make sure that I'm operating and working to the best of my ability to be able to serve others. But I think the biggest thing that we have to do as sales representatives in this industry is, of course, in discovery, we're looking for the why, right? So when the clients or the prospects come in, their families come in, they want to know why they should choose your assisted living, your memory care, your independent living, your CCRC, whatever it may be. But I think what's more important is for me to kind of guide the folks that are in sales to utilize an inflection point of what is your why? Of course, having occupancy quotas, hitting your metrics, achieving them or surpassing them is very important. But for me, my why, when you're able to put service first, you're able to build that trust, the move-ins follow after, right? So if you've got the orders and the processes immediately down, but you're looking to serve versus looking to meet a quota versus looking to drive occupancy, those types of things, looking at a commission, your chances are you're not going to come off as best as you might have if you do put service first. And just understanding that the occupancy drive percentage will certainly be supported behind you taking that position, as well as the quotas and everything else that's to follow.
So it sounds to me that what I'm taking from this is that have a process, have your infrastructure, have everything in order, follow the process, know where you're going, right? And what your
Absolutely.
game plan is, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely be driven. But
Mm-hmm.
that's when you're sitting in front of a customer, or when you're going through your day, stay focused, not on that, but more focused on your why. Why are you doing this? Because the job's hard. It's very, very difficult.
Absolutely.
And so it's difficult in so many ways. If you're focused on, I'm determined to whatever your why is, if you're really passionate about, connection and, you know, ha- it sounds so cliche, but really helping, truly making that difference, and knowing you do, like what you said earlier, it truly, I mean, it can bring it's truly why I do, truly my why do I do, what I do is what you just said. And it drives me every single day, day in, day out, day in, day out. Never get tired of it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. 22 years later, love it. and and if you don't love it, is every day easy? No. Is every do things always go well? No. Is it difficult? But if you, yeah, so you're saying like have the system, have the process, kind of know what you're doing, be a driven person, but really be driven by things outside, in addition to.
Absolutely, because then it's not a sales job. It's for me, I love hearing these senior stories, right? I love being able to connect with the families. I love knowing that I can take a need where they're having pitfalls and be able to transform that into growth for their loved one. And they join a family when they come into a community. So, being able to shift from the sales mindset to more so how can I serve you, and seeing more of the human approach to this and connecting through that is I think the best way to build trust and build that relationship. Now, of course, you got to have a team that can back up what you're putting out there, right? So it's very important to make sure that all your internal processes are going well, in terms of your team and the community or your team at the community. But yes, I think the most important aspect is really highlighting the human to human connection, and really, just allowing them to understand, I am here for you. Whatever problem you have, here's how we can have a solution, and here's how we can thrive within that solution.
People listening may want to know two things. One is you grew occupancy to 100%, and it will never just out every single day. It will shift slightly from there. But what was occupancy when you started? In other words,
Yes.
what should you grow?
Yeah, so when I started, occupancy was at 59%, and we're 114 rooms. We're rent. That is the structure of our community. About 13 of those rooms are memory care, and 101 of those are assisted living.
Okay, so you have 114 apartments, primarily assisted living. You have a small memory care, and you were about 60% occupancy. However, that kind of breaks down, and now you're
Mhm.
100%. So that's a net
Correct.
of
Oh goodness,
a
including the
net.
outs, I would say, and I have a fantastic sales counselor that I work with as well. I would say we probably brought in about 75 residents.
Yeah, because to grow, I mean, to net, the net is the in and out, right? In,
Absolutely.
out, net. Fantastic, Kevin. And so it's a rental community of assisted living and memory care
Correct.
in Orange County. Great. Let's talk a little bit about team.
Mhm.
We can't control the actions of others. And this is such a topic. And I'm asked to speak a lot about a, quote unquote sales focused culture. It really is a customer focused culture. It's really operations focused. Sales is part of that. And can't run a business if you don't have revenue. You don't have revenue if you don't have customers, our residents, our families, our team, one another. Keeping it as simple as you can, and you're thinking about, I have this great team. What are some of the like core fundamentals? Like if your team can do, if you can get your team to X, like do this at its core foundation, what's one or two things that you're like, the
Right.
team has got to be able to what?
Feel valued. I think that is very important because, we really make sure that the rest of our team knows, from housekeeping to care to dining to business office manager to our executive director. Without all of them working like a well-oiled machine, we cannot sell. We cannot bring in residents feeling comfortable internally that we can actually take care of them. So I think having the team feel valued and knowing that they are the key position as to why we're seeing the success when we see that growth.
What's an example of a team feeling, how do you do that?
Yeah, so certainly in all staff meetings, really just I think it starts from the day to day, just, making sure everyone, whenever I see someone that I work with, whether it's care or dining, whoever it may be, I'm always letting them know, thank you so much for your hard work. Your hard work is really helping this community out. If I get residents that give them a little shout out to me in my office, I'll make sure I go and transfer that great news. And then, on the inverse, if there's something we can fix, we really make sure that we work hard to fix that as well. So just giving them the day-to-day touches, really, when we have our all staffs, making sure that they know just how valuable they are. Because let's face it, a lot of these positions can make more money doing, in and out, right? Working at in and out, but they choose to be here. And I think there's a lot of why within them as well. So instilling that why why are you doing this, is very, very important.
So helping your entire team focus in on their why, right? Because yeah,
Exactly.
and for those that don't live in California, In-N-Out is a fast food
Hmm.
hamburger chain. Because we were just talking about
Yes.
In-N-Out for move-ins and move-outs.
Yes.
I think it's only in California, although I think In-N-Out it might be. Who knows?
They're expanding. I know they just moved headquarters to Tennessee, so they might have one
Oh,
opening by you.
who's not? Who's not
Right?
to Nashville? Who is not
Yeah.
to Nashville? So let's go. So with team, what about like for me, I'd say your team for guests coming in,
Mhm.
tours, it's the experience, right? And it's not the sales director is only one person that it ended up very, very important in the connection, in the helping that customer feel seen and heard, the prospects, the influencers, in customizing experience. But if the team isn't aware of who's coming in and they're then greeting, and it does, I'm not talking about a 30-minute commercial, but I mean the team knows that they were guest ready. To me, it's tours, communicate in morning meeting or stand up, know who's coming in, know something about them. That to me is like bare minimum.
Yep.
What is your like, have you ever run up against, or what would you say? Because this is a common challenge. Everybody is so busy, and here we are in sales saying, oh, and by the way, can you do this for me? Or hey, I got a tour coming in, and could you do this? Or oh, we've got, something, and can you turn a room or an apartment around really fast? And it feels sometimes, or at least that's a communication, that sales expect so much from other departments, and they have their plate runneth over. Do you run into that? And if you do, how do you get team buy-in for this harmony in people feeling valued?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate. So our maintenance director had to turn a lot of rooms that were just
Yeah.
disasters within a very short period of time. So, he's very hardworking and he was able to be successful. We never waited on a room from him. So yes, definitely the communication, letting them know. But when you get to experience, success, making sure that you have employee appreciation moments. So, being able to bring in Starbucks, their favorite Starbucks, or being able to do, a lunch for them, just to be able to thank them for all of their hard work and dedication, I think is very important to getting that buy-in as well, because they do get recognized. And in all staff, we pick a hero of the month. Every month within our community. So someone that's going the extra mile, and then we get them a small gift as well, just to make them, and then they get, like a paper, a plaque, essentially, that is framed, and they feel important, right? And I think that's the most important aspect of it, is them feeling valued really enhances their drive to make sure that everything's in tip-top shape. So then you're transitioning from playing catch up to we're on it. The community is clean. They're already turning rooms that don't have a wait list on them yet. Just things like that, where everyone just kind of starts clicking, and it really allows for you to be able to obtain the service and the move-ins, consequentially.
Let's go back to a day in the life of Kevin. because I want to get 9 move-ins. I want to grow my occupancy. And you've had, if you had a net gain from 59% to 1%, 114 units, we can do maybe we should have done the math before we got on, but it's a lot of net. Okay. It's a lot.
Mhm.
It's tough to net gain one. If you've got 6 out, you need 7 in to net gain one. Okay.
Right.
Everyone listening out there knows sometimes net 0 is a win, but to net gain 4, a net gain 5, I mean, it can be, it's definitely a never ending push, right?
Mhm.
So what is an optimum way to structure, like how do you structure your day or your week to yield these outcomes? You said you've got a system, a process. I know not every day is the same, but can you give us an idea of like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm cranking out this much activity, or I'm these types of conversions.
Yeah, so I think, as we've already spoken about, just making sure that communication is at an all-time high, making sure that the team is feeling valued. Anytime we do have a tour coming in, I go to the dining room uh, early in the morning after I do my walkthrough just to make sure everything looks great. I don't mind rolling up my sleeves and getting dirty to make sure that everything is in place properly prior to these tours. But I think also making sure that I'm going to the kitchen and then being able to um, get a sweet treat, something that the resident can try in terms of food, because I think one of the biggest concerns is, are we just getting frozen meatloaf that's reheated? And that's where you really want to show off your chef, right? And for us, we're very fortunate. There's a famous bakery chain around here called Porto's. And so our executive chef was the former chef of Porto's. So whenever I'm touring, I always give them a menu. I always have food for them to sample so they can taste it. I show them pictures of the quality of food. And I make sure whenever I say Porto's, they go, oh, wow. That's the aha moment of, okay, I know the food quality is going to be fantastic. And then on top of that, we won Best Assisted Living by US News in 2025. We won that in 2024. So I really like highlighting some of those aspects of successes to make sure that they understand that they can trust us with the care, trust us with those basic services. And then I can show through activities, and as we're touring, residents coming up and saying, you got to pick this place. This place is fantastic. Those are the affirmations, but just showing that their loved one's going to thrive, which I think is the most important aspect, because when I was looking for a community for my grandmother, we wanted her to thrive. So I really get to put myself back in my shoes of during that process of, we had no idea what was going on, and really, just be able to educate from a standpoint of love and show them, hey, your loved one's going to thrive here.
Give me an idea of how many times you pick up the phone in any given day.
Oh goodness.
And I
So
know not every day is typical, but generally speaking.
yeah, I would say I make about anywhere from 50 to 100 calls at minimum a day. And
50
this,
to 50 to 100,
mhm.
you're picking the phone up.
Yeah, unless I'm back to back to back to back visits, I'm on the phone.
You are
And
on the phone a lot.
yes,
You
you
are
have to
on the
be.
phone a lot. I just want to say that you are on the phone. You're a really nice guy. You have great focus on culture and relationships, and I can tell that you value your team, and you use not only yours is system in the process of connection with your prospects and your guests and your team members as a leader, as associate, as a colleague. But you're on the phone a lot, Kevin. It's not just like you're a really nice guy that gives people bakery. You
Right.
are
And
on the phone. I just want to make mention of that.
yes, it's so
Yeah,
important. And then in today's day of age, we maybe the phone call isn't the best way to make a
right.
touch,
Yep,
right? So I'm always following up with a text message
right.
as well. And it's not just, there's a reason. I always put a reason behind why I'm following up, or,
Okay.
what are we doing for next steps?
Okay.
Explain to me where we're at in terms of timeframes. How did you come to that standpoint? And a lot of that I can attribute back to your trainings, as well as your books. Is really making sure you're getting down to the root cause so you can understand and place those next steps to be able to assist this family and care for their loved one.
Difficult to assist someone when you don't know what the root cause. You don't know, when someone says, I need your advice. Well, there's loads of different types of advice we can give. You had reached out, or in this case, you and I connected, and you had said, hey, could I pick your brain? Or I don't know if you use that term, but could I get some advice? And I
Right.
don't think I spewed advice. I said, sure, I'm happy to help. Tell me a little bit of what's going on. I didn't know you. I'd never talked to you before. And that, right? So it's impossible. Well, I guess it's not impossible. You can just start spewing advice, but you're really misaligning yourself if you don't, to your point, know the root cause, right? To advise. So you're picking up the phone or texting, other forms of communication. Do you ever do video messaging or
I
anything?
do.
You do.
Yeah, video
Okay.
messaging for follow-ups just to say, hey, thanks for coming by. It was so wonderful meeting you. I also have a catalog of photos that I personally took, that I think really enhance and highlight the beautiful aspects of our community. As we know, every community is different. So I'm making sure I'm sending that on the initial outreaches so they can see, oh, this community is beautiful. Let's just, that's how I get them in. And then from there, once they try the food, they see the menu, the weekly menu, they know about our chef, they know about longevity of staff, they know about our care, they know about our community accolades. It's like, okay, what are the next steps? Oftentimes they're
Mhm.
asking me, how do I get my loved one in here?
Mhm.
And then, that's where we have a list where we have, this is what we need. These are the items that need to be taken care of prior to move-in and contract being sent. And, we work diligently with the families throughout that process to be able to move at the speed that they're looking for.
And I correct me if I'm wrong here, but people aren't just throwing money your way. It's not that they come in and throw checks at you. I mean, you are working your follow-ups. Not everybody's just moving in easy peasy, right?
Right. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. You've
All
got to
right.
work with follow-ups.
Okay. You've got people that aren't ready right now, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Are you making it sound really easy, which I know it's not. I just want to clarify. You're you're I was going to ask you, and I know averages can be, some people move in quite quickly, some wait, sometimes it can take a year. That's why average is average, but approximately, like for assisted living, how many touches, how many phone call, email, text, video, approximately how many kind of interactions before someone moves in?
In total, I would say at least at least 25.
Mhm.
At least, because they're not just going to you. We've got 3 sister communities within a 4-mile radius. So they're definitely checking them out. And then of course they're also going to other communities within the area. So you really have to make sure that they feel important. And if you're doing the follow-ups correctly, they know, okay, this is a good sign. He's following up, he really cares. Chances are the care is also going to be there. The community is going to operate the same way. And I think that's also a big aspect of that trust.
I love that. I love that. Someone said to me once, and I borrowed it as my own, and that's failure to follow up is a broken promise. So not
It's
following
so
up, your
true.
broken promise. So following up, or following through it, or I left a couple voicemails, so I feel like they should call me back. It's our, like, as if they're our customer, we need to follow up, or we are the ones that, if you're the customer, that it is the business that should want to earn your business. So if you're the salesperson, or the business owner, you're working, it's lovely to get a call back. And it,
Right.
that's nice and it's courteous, but it's not the, especially people in crisis and families that are emotional and they're, like you said, I mean, it's logistically difficult, it's emotionally difficult, and you're being as much as you can that advisor. You're trying to pull all these things together for them, setting next steps, giving them advice. They're not always taking it, they don't need to. 25 touches, 25 touches. So it's not just a hey, come on in,
Right.
let's
Yeah.
move.
And I think, also looking at the family as if they are family, right? Because if they are going to instill the trust to move their loved one in, or they're going to move themselves in, um, you want to really show and have them feel like they are going to be joining a family. And if you've got a loved one who needs some sort of assisted living to CCRC to memory care, the family members are going to be all over it, right? They're going to be, tell me about this, talk about this. So you want to make sure that they really feel like you're I guess a branch of their family who's there for them. And yeah, that's you want to gain that trust by following up, certainly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for giving us all of this advice and letting me pick your brain. You're doing incredible work. And I, for one, and I know there are hundreds of people that are very grateful that you started walking down this path in senior living and sales in particular. And we need more Kevins. We definitely need more Kevins. So before we go, what can I ask you for those who are just starting in senior living? Maybe they're thinking about it, or maybe they just a little bit burned out or need a refresh. What advice do you have for people listening?
So I think my advice is comes in a part A and a part B. So the
Okay.
part A is dive deep into your work, Julie.
Oh,
Get all the books you can, get all the trainings you can, whether you're seasoned and have been in this industry for a while or brand new, just get into the material and then create your systems and processes through all of the wisdom that you've instilled. Very, very quintessential for me coming out of the gates brand new and running. So I want to make sure that those listening to check out your trainings, check out your books. It is invaluable. And then I think part B is my chief sales officer, Rick Wigington, said something that really impacted me, and that's every room that is vacant at your community is a senior on the street somewhere that could be using your help. And I think if we look at it like that, instead of, oh, I need one more sale, I need one more move in, if we look at it as a serving aspect, I think, I know great things follow with that.
mm, great, great, great advice. And if I could, I'm not even going to tag anything on that because that is just great advice because that's the why, which all of those 50 calls, all those pickups, all of those leading measures ride. Right? And if that's
Absolutely.
we stay focused on our own why, it gets us through sometimes sometimes doing the things that we don't maybe feel like doing today, or if we're not if we're having a great day and it's a yes kind of day, it's those are easy days, right? To get through. It's those days where we're having a no day, or people aren't in a great mood day, or someone canceled day, or we had 3 outs day. People are feeling pressure day. Those are the days, or those are the times where it's just like, am I making a difference?
Mhm.
And getting texts like yours, Kevin, and there's so many people that like you out. You are all making such a great difference, and Rick is absolutely right. You are all making such an incredible difference, and thank you so much for sharing your experience and your wisdom, and more importantly, like your heart. I can tell how much you love doing what you do, and we're very, very lucky and your community is very lucky, and all the people you work with are very, very fortunate.
Well, that's very sweet. And thank you so much for those wonderful words. And we are blessed. And I can see through your material, you have a passion. I have a passion. So for those that are, maybe hitting those down times, reignite that passion and go serve a senior today. That's what I have to say.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you all for listening. Like, share this episode with someone that you think might be great in senior living, or someone that you think may need or would benefit from hearing from someone like Kevin, who's got great advice and who started in senior living just about a year ago. Thank you so much again. We'll talk to you soon on another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. This episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast is sponsored by Yardi.